Welcome in, everybody. It is a Monday, so that means when Line Breakers FC is live on Monday, we're talking the Champions League. We got the quarterfinals, the second leg. Rex here with my partners in crime, usually AJ and Joey B. Joey B, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Can't wait for just the soccer action to continue on day after day. So pretty excited to see who makes the semifinals here in the Champions League.
AJ, what is up?
Dude, I'm excited for this Champions League, although I know Rex considers this the second best Champions League in the world, but I'm excited to dive into it.
Yeah, just calling this the Champions League stream always leaves it open for the back door at the end to sneak in the CONCACAF. But yes, we'll be sticking with the 4 matches, 2 on Tuesday, 2 on Wednesday. We got the second leg here. So let's just get right into it because, man, AJ, we won't talk about West Brom showing up and then Everton just lays another egg. Talk about that Thursday. No need to talk about it now. Let's get right into it let's go with, I guess, the least juicy one. Always got to keep the better one for the prime. We got Chelsea and Porto. We got Chelsea up 2-0. The 2-0 lead, especially with this Tuchel defense, isn't something that you wouldn't be in the hole for. And Porto is traveling to London for this match. Just not looking too hot here because that's where you can see Chelsea's listed at a short -120. Trying to play the motivation there, I guess. You got Porto at +322. The Asian handicap sitting at the half a goal. Your over-under sitting at 2.5 with the under-juiced here. And this is it just depends what Chelsea lineup we get. It's going to determine because as long as Chelsea gets the bag, it's the first one here. This game's going to be a stinker. It'll be a snoozer. Hopefully you have Paramount Plus or I guess Bayern PSG is going to be on the main channel. They're not going to put this one. That's silly. Well, AJ, what do you think of this? Because you're the Chelsea believer.
Yeah, Chelsea lately has been really weird. As Rex usually says, drunk matches. Chelsea have been in a couple drunk matches where they're not holding their low scoring. So I do expect some goals coming in this match. Chelsea's offense is clicking and their defense is possibly shaky again. Joey B, any thoughts? Oh, caught him at a bad time.
Yeah, I think, are we giving out our best bets as we go?
Yeah, we can do that. Doesn't really matter. Whatever you're feeling.
Yeah. So this game, I think Rex Smith said it, like you're down 2 goals going to London to play. Couldn't be in a worse spot. They're actually the least likely team to advance at everybody. So I think for good reason. But my bet on the game, I'm just taking both teams to score. Or I was actually going to see what your guys' opinion was. Either look at both teams to score or the over 2.5, just because I think from the start Porto have to press. I know Tuchel has played most of, I would say 90% of his games to the under 2.5 since he's joined. But I was either going to, I think, sticking with the both teams to score just because even in the last game, Porto had an XG of like 1.5. I think they could at least get 1. And because they have to press, Chelsea should get at least 1 or 2. So that's my thought process. I don't know if you guys have maybe you can sway me to the over 2.5, but I just think both teams score here. Especially since if Chelsea give up 1 goal, it's not the end of the world, especially if they do score 1. So just my thought process there.
Yeah, I personally agree with your logic, and I think it's there. But I don't know. Porto, I do think they're the weakest team left. Chelsea, one of the stronger defending teams, although I did mention that their defense is a little iffy. But taking that over 2.5, you're kind of hoping maybe seeing Chelsea win 3-0, which is kind of tough. So I'd go with both teams.
So my way of attacking this both teams to score is you're really relying on Porto to get 1 through. So it's the price of the Porto team total has to be 0.5 because I doubt they would throw them a 1 with this current price. So that's where your 2 bets I'd be contemplating because you're feeling Porto does sneak 1 through. So whatever you have the better price there because a 1-0 Porto win would be, I guess, a little bit shocking, but Chelsea still gets through, so there's no harm off their back. But that's going to be a frantic final 30 minutes for them where the international break seems like it came at the worst time, threw their rhythm off. But I just think West Brom, that was a sleepy spot. You saw them, their next resounding wins in Palace. Once you get up 3-0 that early and you're just controlling the match, it's more likely than not you might let one sneak in. So here, no play for me on this one, but I like your angle of Porto over half goal or both teams to score if I had to play one.
Yeah, the at least on FanDuel, their team total over 0.5 is minus 200. And Chelsea's is minus 530. So I think both teams' score is kind of the best of both worlds, because I think, again, both teams, obviously Porto wouldn't be satisfied with a 1-1 game, but Chelsea would be way more than happy to be sitting back, because I think even with 2-1 win or a 2-1 loss, they are still advancing. So that's another angle you could take it. Porto would need to win 3-1 if they do give up a goal.
All right, let's get to the main viewing of what we'll all be tuning in during the working hours tomorrow, because Bayern versus PSG, the first leg lived up to the hype 3-2. PSG came out with the result here. Huge match for Bayern, where we saw them draw Union Berlin over the weekend. So you definitely saw all sites were traveling to France. All eyes were on that, and they're still a plus 120 favorite on the road. You got PSG at plus 191. You got the total sitting at a very juicy over 3.5. That's what happens when you get 5 in the first leg. The contrarian completely in me. When Bayern needs points, when Bayern needs results, what usually happens? You get a stinker under real hard game, and it might end up being my play, because the 3.5 like minus 105 is just completely speaking to me. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this before I lock in an under on a Bayern PSG match and just hate my life.
Go, Joey B, start us off on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I don't know. I think I disagree again with both you guys here. Just given what I think AJ has coming later, but I think PSG is a good value at plus 190 to win. They just overpowered them in the last game. I know Bayern kind of dominated the ball, but in terms of better quality chances and just players all around, I think PSG is did all the right things last game. I kind of see it to continue. And the other thing is Bayern will have to attack. Similar to Porto, Bayern will have to get them kind of right from the start. But yeah, I could see this. Maybe Bayern goes up 1-0, and in that leads to maybe a last minute win 2-0 for Bayern, or maybe a 1-1 game, even a 2-1 game that under 3.5 comes in. I think as a contrarian, that under is a great play. I just, with Bayern and PSG playing, I wouldn't touch a 3.5, but I think it's I don't know, no fun, but I think it's a good contrarian angle for sure.
Yeah. I think I'm on the other side. Watching that match, I feel like Bayern just had a couple moments of just mental lapses, whatever, that led PSG to scoring those goals. If anyone could pull up the XG really quickly, I'm pretty sure Bayern's XG was significantly more than PSG's. Regarding Rex, under J loves the under 3.5. Back-to-back games scoring more than 4 goals seems like a very tough feat. And finally, go for it.
No, I was going to say Bayern PSG was the final last year, and that was the one where I did the both teams to score Noah plus 300 and end up cashing through hard. Almost the same exact lineup, so I'm locking in the under 3.5. Pray for me. It's sitting at minus 103, so I got to take it. But yeah, what you just said just made me press submit on the play.
Yeah, AJ, you were spot on the XG. Bayern had a 4.28 XG versus PSG's 1.65. That's what I saw that and kind of laughed at what that was.
Yeah, so taking all that analysis, my play, and I'm only throwing half a unit on it, is Bayern to advance. Depending on your book, sits around plus 240. I mean, they are Bayern. Yes, they're missing Lewandowski, but PSG at home are serial chokers in the Champions League, and I see Bayern pulling this one off.
All right, we got 2 best bets on that one. Joey B, you had your first bet thrown out on there, so let's get into Wednesday, where the action's better here, but you don't have PSG Bayern to headline it, because Dortmund versus City, I think we saw we'll break down that City Leeds match more on Thursday's stream. But City did not take the Bayern approach and rest players. They went all at it. They had over a 2xG in that game, and they just couldn't finish. I guess it's better to leave your finishing boots at home playing Leeds rather than when they have to travel. This one's in Dortmund, I believe. So that's where City holds a 2-1 advantage. You could get a lot of, I don't know if I would call it value, but there's a high price on Bayern and on Dortmund in any way that you're trying to back them here. Joey B, what do you like in this game?
There's not a bet I like in this game. Last time I was on City minus 1.5, and they just played around with Dortmund for basically most of the game, and then they almost drew and then came away with a late winner. Part of me, I know AJ will hate this, but I root for Pep to get his Champions League winner with City, just because I like a handful of their players, but especially in a big moment, it's so hard to trust Pep to kind of prove himself. So I don't know. I think they should dominate the game again like they did last time. But Dortmund, they have Haaland, who maybe shows up this time finally for them. Dortmund did play well against Stuttgart, it seemed, this weekend, and then other than that, I think we could see goals. I kind of like the over in this one, but not enough to pull the trigger. Because I could see this game being like 3-2 or 0-0, something like that, or a 1-0 to either side. So I don't really have a feel on the total, and I just don't want to back Man City in a huge spot where they need to win and they don't necessarily need to win. So it's just hard all around.
Yeah, no, that's a fair analysis. I also agree this is hard to touch, but looking at that over 3, the more I let it sit and marinate, the more I'm kind of enticed. And looking at that, I mean, Dortmund at home, they're just not going to fall over to City. But I don't know if I could just pull the trigger on that. Do you guys have any thoughts specifically on the over 3?
I don't know. I wouldn't touch it. I got luck. I definitely got lucky in the first game where I took the City first half money line, and then Ederson takes the guy outside the box, and then it gets called on a foul on the striker or attacking midfielder, which was extremely weird, but got some luck that didn't come through this past weekend where this is anytime City's on their minus 200, you just know the tout special parlay that's going to be in there somewhere. And the over 3, I guess, is the most intriguing one here. But my only concern would be the minute City gets an away goal, it's basically done. So that's where if you have the over 3, you just got to hope that Dortmund scores first, unless City just wants to make everyone shut up from the past weekend. Because this is a big spot where a City team total or the over does seem good here because City might just take all their frustrations out against Dortmund this weekend.
Yeah, the other thing I always look at, both teams to score an over 2.5 is minus 122. So betting on another 2-1 game, maybe 2-1 to Dortmund and we get some extra time. But I could see this. I think 3 is a good number to get, especially if we may get Man City to win 3-0, if possibly. But yeah, I think just another way to look at the total here.
All right, and then the last match on Wednesday where it was looking like we could have a interesting leg, but 3-1 Real Madrid lead here makes it much, much tougher to hopefully see Liverpool at Anfield. They finally broke the curse and scored against Villa. Thanks for that. I'll talk about that on Thursday, but they finally got through, got the dub there. And Madrid, you got them at plus 254 dogs. You got Liverpool sitting right around even or minus 110 on the money line. You got the over under 3 completely even here. I feel like when you have the 2-goal advantage, kind of like with the Porto match, I find those much harder to cap than when it's even or 1, or even if it's greater than that. The 2-goal is just that fishy middle area where you could basically tell me this match goes anyway. It could be 0-0, could be 2-2. I just think, I don't know, maybe you have to back Madrid in some sort of way here, but I do think Liverpool does make some noise. So if anything, I think both teams to score here would be a good bet, but that's extremely juicy, so I wouldn't be giving that out as a play. Yeah,
for me, I mean, Madrid manhandled Barcelona at the weekend. They beat Liverpool at home last weekend. Seeing Liverpool as an outright favorite at minus 105 is a little shocking. I think I would have to lean Madrid at plus half a goal at minus 110 on the Asian handicap if I had to play something on this. Joey,
Yeah, both you guys lean that way. I'm taking Real Madrid plus a half at minus 113. I just think they're the far better side. So much class. Even if I just don't think Liverpool may win the game 1-0, and Real Madrid would be fine with that. But I think Real Madrid may be the hottest team in Europe. I know Rex mentioned it like last maybe 2 weeks ago on the stream, and all of a sudden we got them playing well with Barcelona and Atletico going for the La Liga title. So it could be an intense couple games for them. But I also think Liverpool will be more than happy to kind of bow out of maybe not happy, but I guess given that they're down 3-1, they will kind of I guess I don't want to say be happy to leave, but they will look to kind of get back to the top 4 of the Premier League. They're only 3 points behind. I think they'd be happy to just kind of get out of this tie sooner than later. Hopefully it's a 1-1 game, 0-0 game. Who knows? Maybe Real Madrid wins this one again. But I just thought last game Real Madrid dominated them, even with some of their defenders. They had a makeshift defense out there. Then they turned around and beat Barcelona this weekend too. So I just think that hot streak continues. They don't lose this game. And it just the value I think for me is definitely on that Real Madrid. I don't know about the money line, but definitely them to avoid the loss here.
Yeah, so the more we talked about it here, I was leaning this way. I don't think there's much. I mean, the price hasn't increased that much on it, but I'm going to roll with the over 3 at minus 110, just because I think this is a great live over to play if you don't get anything early. I don't think Liverpool is going to be happy to bow out. I think they have the full belief if they did put up the Centurions last year that they can come back from a 2-goal deficit at home. So I think we see a Liverpool team that is just going to be balls to the wall the whole time, which is going to leave their back very susceptible to the chances. And you saw Vinicius Jr. finish 2 nice ones last match. So I do think both teams do score here. I'm just going to roll with the over 3 at minus 110. I think it's a push at worst because if this is 1-1, I think Liverpool's still going to go for it. But the only thing that scares me with the over is if Poole just tries to get 2-0 and then play for the extra time. All right, let's wrap up what we have on our bets. Unless you guys have any last thoughts, you can add it in there. But I'm rolling with the Liverpool Real Madrid over 3 at minus 110. And then I'm taking what else did I bet live?
The
PSG. Yeah, I already forgot about it because it's going to be so much pain. The PSG Bayern under 3.5 at minus 103.
Yeah, under J is super proud, and I'm liking that under as well. The more we talk about it, but my only play of the week, half a unit on Bayern to advance plus 240, best team in the world. Can't deny it.
Yeah, I got for me Porto, Chelsea, both teams to score minus 118, and then I got Real Madrid plus half a goal minus 113.
All right, so we got to get into this. Tomorrow night, we got a good match between Cruz Azul and Achiari. Achiari covered a 3.5 spread the last game, Haitian team, traveling into Cruz Azul, Mexico. I think this is going to open at like a minus 4.5. Would you take Achiari just based off the first result, or because I think that was the most perfect CONCACAF? Mexico's just going into the other country, just getting a draw out, and then about to lay the hammer here.
4.5 is steep. I don't know if I've ever taken a 4.5 in soccer.
San Marino gives you the possibilities for that to give you a plus 7.
Oh yeah, that is true, and those are hell matches. So I don't think I'd be laying 4.5.
Yeah, give me the plus 4.5. I don't care if they lose 7-0. I feel like that's the right side in any game of soccer. That's just too many points because Cruz Azul probably could go up 2-0 and just sit on it a little bit. Who knows how much effort and focus they're putting into a game against where are they from, Rex, again?
Haiti.
Yeah, a game against the Haitian team, so who knows. But yeah, give me the 4.5.
And then This game is, I believe, at 8 p.m. on Wednesday night, so I'll be sweaty because the Union are at home against the Saprissa. I just think it could be a boxing match. There's no line out for it yet, or at least the books I use, I don't see one out. But I got to think the Union are going to be favored in some way because Saprissa's been on a cold streak. But boy, oh boy, am I extremely nervous for that match.
I mean, given the I'm not normally a cards like prop player, but just given the a couple tackles, I know Rex didn't mention the not questionable tackle, but there was a tackle from one of the Union players on a Saprissa player last game. Definitely not as dirty as what we saw on Twitter. But I think give me the cards over whatever cards points, whatever you can bet on. Just I think this is going to be, like Rex said, a boxing match, maybe some fist fights here. But yeah, it's going to be dirty.
I like that angle. My book allows that live. I'll definitely look into that. Hope no yells in the first 5, get it a little bit lower, and bang.
Perfect. And then I have a question for you guys. So obviously I'm a United fan, support England clubs. Is it wrong to support United's rivals in the Champions League? Because obviously I want English teams to do well, bring back that like English glory, as you could say. But as a United fan rooting for City or Liverpool, where do you guys lie on that?
Oh, well, if I try to make comparisons, would I root for Juventus to bring Champions League glory? No. Would I ever root for the Cowboys to do well? For the NFC East glory? No. So that's where, if you're just want to become a Premier League stan and you can throw your biases out from your rivals, then that's good for you. You're way more mature than I am. But I wouldn't be able to do it. If it's any other clubs, like if it was a Napoli or Atalanta, I would 100% support for them in the Champions League.
Mm-hmm. Joey B, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, like you wouldn't find me rooting for West Brom or Aston Villa to succeed in any way, shape, or form in any European competition. But I think I would use it more as like a silver lining, especially because like UEFA coefficients matter in the number of teams you get in and how well. And I think with the new, like, I don't even know what they're calling it, but the like second level Europa competition they're starting, that the more spots and the better your team, your domestic league does internationally, the better like your coefficient is. And so just more spots for more teams, and all that equals more money and more profits for your domestic league. So that would be more of a silver lining I would use. I wouldn't openly root for my rivals, but it would be more of like a way to hedge myself. I'm like, oh yeah, like I don't know, just as a hedge and just make myself feel a little better about them doing well.
Yeah, so Serie A perspective, if you're not Milan or if you're not Juve, I'll root for you. I'll put it that way.
That's fair. That's fair.
Why? Are you rooting for City and Liverpool quietly in the corner? Man United, Twitter, people log off the stream real quick.
If anyone, it would have to low-key just be Chelsea a little bit, just because I love Pulisic, and that's it. That's all I got for you. That's all the Chelsea
Yeah,
love
you do. Good time to wear the Pulley jersey.
Yep,
you got to do it after these bags, too.
Yep, have to.
All right, so that's going to wrap us up for this week. A little bit shorter because you only got 4 matches to preview. We'll get shorter for the next week as well, but we definitely want to hop on here even for this little bit of time to give you out our best bets, give you out our thoughts, promote the breakdown. You can check us out at BRKDWN_sports on Twitter. A lot of content. We have fantasy football, fantasy basketball, hockey trade deadline grades, whatever you need on those. We got you covered on all aspects. You can follow us under our head, and you spell AJ's last name VADUKUL.
Perfect. Yeah, it's cold in California. Might get some pho. That's all I have to say.
It's cold. It's like it's finally getting hot here.
Well, I'm still in like shorts and a t-shirt, so I don't know how cold it really is.
Cold.
Yeah, let's log this off before we get the Cali bro off.
Enough weather.